Hello, and thanks for joining me for this episode of NCIA Today. I'm your host, Bethany Moore, NCIA's Deputy Director of Communications, checking in with you regularly with updates on what's happening in the cannabis industry and here at NCIA. We're bringing you fresh episodes every other week this year, so thanks for continuing to join us on this new schedule. Let's begin by reflecting on our recent trade show we held in San Francisco last month, the 7th annual Cannabis Business Summit and Expo. Check out this blog with photo highlights and a short video to see the show floor, including our Bloom Brands Experience area that we debuted at the show with actual cannabis products to see, touch, and smell. We also enjoyed being welcomed by San Francisco Mayor Breed herself and heard from keynote speakers like Troy Datcher of the parent company and pro cannabis professional athletes, including Calvin Johnson Jr., Marvin Washington, Rachel Rapino, and Anna Simons. We provided valuable education to attendees while facilitating the growth of cannabis businesses across the country in the coming year. So please save the date for our 8th annual Cannabis Business Summit and Expo, July 20th, 21st, and 22nd, 2022, at the Moscone Center in San Francisco. Moving on to some cannabis policy news, we heard from Government Relations Manager Madeline Grant about what's happening in Congress and what the outlook is for some of our policy goals, like newer legislation introduced, like the States Reform Act, as well as the good old Safe Banking Act. We also got the news that will certainly impact legislation in the future. Longtime champion and lead sponsor, Representative Ed Perlmutter from Colorado, just announced that he will not be running for re-election next session. What does it all mean? Read more in Madeline's blog on our website. Next, in a new blog from Cannabusiness ERP, wrap your head around the who, what, where, and when of expanding in new cannabis markets. Download the guide linked within with a list of 10 states MSOs should focus their attention on, such as Nevada, New York, and Pennsylvania. Quote, even if an MSO is successful in another market, rules around taxes, packaging, and serial numbers vary from state to state. So new business practices will likely have to be built from the ground up, quote the guide notes. Check that out on our blog. Next, we're continuing our Equity Member Spotlight series with Raina Jackson, who founded Purple Raina Infused Self-Care. Raina is an Oakland-based hemp, CBD, and cannabis brand strategist, as well as product developer and educator. Prior to entering the cannabis industry, Raina worked for top New York City beauty and personal care companies Maybelline and L'Oreal Professional, trained at the Vidal Sassoon School in London, and taught cosmetology at the Avita Institute in Soho, New York City. Now, she offers topical infusions that soothe sore muscles and joints, nourish the skin, and pamper the senses with aromatherapy. Purple Raina Self-Care promotes mindful self-care and grooming, which sounds exactly right up my alley. Learn more in the Equity Spotlight on our website. We're also continuing weekly episodes of both of our podcasts to keep you informed and inspired. You can tune in to NCIA's Cannabis Industry Voice, which I host, and NCIA's Cannabis Minority Report, hosted by Khadija Adams. If you're an NCIA member interested in submitting educational content for our website and newsletter, or pitching to be a guest on our podcast, I'd love to work with you, and it's a benefit included in your membership you can take advantage of throughout the year. please send me an email to get the ball rolling at bethany@thecannabisindustry.org. In the meantime, please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram to stay inspired and connected. If you're a member of NCIA, log into NCIA Connect and spark up a conversation with your fellow NCIA members and colleagues today. We'll see you next time.